Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of our guests today sponsored by Passant Motors, and those guests include Marty Biron standing by. Getting to your destination starts with us at Passant. Find the best deals, largest selection, and best financing. Visit Passant Motors, BASANT Motors.com. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight in Florida. Panthers up 1-0 on the Oilers after their 3-0 victory in Game 1 on the weekend. To talk about that, Marty Biron from TSN, RDS, Buffalo Sabres analyst on MSG. Marty, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. Look at what I'm sporting today, guys. My old
sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Love that logo. Love it.
You know what? You can take the Nordiques out of the league, but you can never take the Nordiques out of me. So that's the way it goes.
So is that your team growing up?
Oh, man. I was born in 77, so my parents were huge WHA Nordiques fans, and they won the AFCO trophy a couple of times, and then, they moved into the NHL in 79-80. Michel Goulet, Buddy Cloutier, and then I fell in love with the goalie, Mario Gosselin, Daniel Bouchard, all of those guys that came through the doors in Quebec City.
Okay, Marty, I have to say this. Just because I want to keep things on good terms with people who show up on this show on a regular basis. Don't forget John Garrett.
Yeah.
Former Nordique
John
goaltender.
Garrett. Yeah, and I got, working in the business. I remember last time I was in Vancouver with the Sabres, we were just a couple of boots over from John Garrett. So beautiful mask when he was with the Nordiques. Great mask. So, he's definitely, but I feel like he was early 80s, right? And so for me, it was a little later, like 87, 88, 89, like run Tugnut, like the 70-plus saves. Like that was more my era.
Yeah. I remember Ron Hextall playing for the Nordiques at one point as well, which seemed really strange.
We could go on for hours, so I won't.
I'm okay.
Tell it.
I'm okay.
Story.
If you want to give it to us, go for it.
So 92-93 playoffs, right? Montreal wins the cup in 93, the last Canadian teams to win a cup. Well, Quebec went up 2-0 in the first round, winning both games in Quebec. Scott Young wraparound game 1, game 2 they win. So now François Allaire was the goalie coach in Montreal at the time, realized that Ron Hextall in warm-up was very superstitious. And what he had to do before leaving the ice is he had to touch all 5 of the face-off dots, the 2 in the zone, the 2 at the blue line, and then the 1 at center ice, and then he could leave. So the Montreal Canadiens dressed one of the Roberge, Mario or Serge Roberge brothers. They told him in warm-up, you're not playing. Stand at the face-off dot at center ice and don't let anybody near you. That's the start of game 3. So Roberge is at the dot, and Ron Hextall is trying to touch the dot, and Roberge is like, get out of here. And now there's a melee at center ice in warm-up game 3. And Ron Hextall is trying to touch the dot with his skate, like while everybody's pushing and fighting. Sure enough, Montreal won 4 in a row right after that.
Wow.
Marty, we're out of time.
I know, exactly. It goes back to Connor McDavid with the gray suit for 3 games, and then he tried it again in game 4, and it didn't work. You can be superstitious, but it can't consume you, right?
Yeah. I don't know what's happening if Sergei Bobrovsky has a good luck charm going, whatever the case may be, if he's touching face-off dots, I'm not sure. But what's making him so effective right now, Marty?
Well, he's got one of the best ability to read the play. He's so good. He's first of all, he's really lightning fast laterally. And we know that the Oilers are really much of an east-west type of team. They like to do seam passes. They like to attack backdoor, Hyman backdoor, Draisaitl backdoor. Those are what the Oilers are built but Bobrovsky, that's his bread and butter. He likes to move laterally. You saw the 2 saves on Henrik and Nugent Hopkins on the breakaways. Like, if you try to beat him laterally on breakaways, it doesn't work. Now, I get it. People are going to say, well, the book on Bobrovsky is you got to shoot high. It's a lot easier said than done, but it is true. Right now in the playoffs, Bobrovsky's given up 38 goals so far in the playoffs. I believe it's 31 of them is at least 2 feet or higher. So you know that you have to elevate the puck when you look at Bobrovsky to be able to beat him. But, Florida's blocking a lot of shots. They're making the reads easy for him. So Obviously, something the Oilers have to be better at because they did have the 32 shots in game one. But, even though the numbers show the expected goals should have been like 4 or 5 for the Oilers, I didn't think they tested them as much as the Oilers probably wanted to.
Hey, Marty, the Nurse-Ceci pairing, they were on the ice for both Panthers goals, 5-on-5. And guess what today? Ceci's going to be a healthy scratch.
Yeah.
Desharnais is going to get in. What did you think of that pairing? And obviously not good if you're an Oilers fan, and they weren't very happy with that pairing.
Nah, they weren't happy with that pairing, but the Oilers gave up 2 goals. Is that why they lost? No, it's not why they lost. They need to score. They need to score at least 2, 3, 4, right? That's the way the Oilers are built. And I get it. Game 6, in against Dallas, they had 10 shots. They played well defensively. After a tough start to the Eastern Conference Finals, Nurse got better and played better, which is good. But that pairing has struggled in the playoffs. So to change things around a little bit, you're not going to take Broberg out. He's a third pair guy, but it'd be interesting to see now if Desharnais can, elevate his game because he's going to be in for one game. If it doesn't work, they're going to put CC back in game 3 at home and control the matchup. So I think that's the right move. But again, it just shows you can make moves after winning a game. You can make moves after losing a game that you should have won, right? Don't sit there and think that, oh, we're good, we should have won game 1. No, it's not. It's a Stanley Cup final. Make some moves, change your roster, change your approach to certain things, and see if you can win a game 2 in Florida.
Hey, Marty, other than Bobrovsky, what do you like about this Panthers team? I mean, making the Stanley Cup finals back-to-back years is awfully tough to do. What do you like about these guys?
I do like, and this is maybe secondary, obviously Barkov, Reinhart, Verhaeghe, they're tops, right? They're awesome. We don't talk as much about Matthew Tkachuk this year, but look, Tkachuk is always going to have an impact in the game. But for me, the key to the Florida Panthers is their third line. Luostarinen, Lundell, Tarasenko. Like, the Oilers can't match that. They don't have a third line that can match what Luostarinen, Lundell especially, and with Tarasenko can do. Not that it's going to win you or lose you game right there, but you need it for some flow to your game. And I felt like the Oilers, especially in the third period, when they went to Draisaitl and McDavid together, they lost a lot of their rhythm. They lost a lot of their flow. They got McDavid, Draisaitl on the ice. Well, Barkov jumps on the ice. Then McDavid, Draisaitl come off the ice. Who else do you got? You don't have that next line, that third line, that even fourth line where, the Florida Panthers throw Tkachuk on. Then they throw Lundell's line on. And then even at times they threw the fourth line on there and they had a response. So that's what I like out of the Florida Panthers is how they're built, and especially the way that third line, they were able to outmatch the Rangers' third line, and now they're outmatching whatever the Oilers have down the lineup.
Martin, it's the first time we've had you on, I believe, since the Canucks were knocked out. What do you think they proved to people this season? 109 points and taking the Oilers to 7 games in round 2.
Well, look, I feel like they ran into an Oilers team that was better than them, right? Like you look at Pettersson not scoring as much, no Brock Besser in game 7, no Thatcher Demko. So with what you had on the ice, I feel like the Vancouver Canucks performed really well. They had to play a different style in the playoffs. Man, how many times did they have 17 shots on goal, 18 shots on goal? They averaged just 20, I think, or just over 20. It's not going to work, but they also did that out of a necessity. With a healthy Thatcher Demko, I feel like it changes their whole dynamic. So I do like what the Vancouver Canucks did all season long and how Rick Tocchet had him prepared. I know there's going to be some change coming up with the roster, but if you're healthy, the Vancouver Canucks are probably in the conference finals and probably, in the finals if they had a healthy Thatcher Demko and if everybody was, not 100%, but close to it.
Are we going to see the NHL back in Quebec City one day?
Yeah, let's do it.
You know what? Well, it's $1 billion US to have a franchise, right? It's going to be. So with the exchange rate, that's a lot of Canadian money. Plus, you have to have the fan base. You have to have the corporate sponsors. I think Quebec will eventually at some point get a team, but it's going to be a team that's going to have to transfer, a team that's not working somewhere else. They have to move. Right now, I don't know who has that money to say we're going to put a team in Quebec City and spend billions and billions of dollars. It's going to take a little time. So I think it's all about the financials, but the fan base would be there. And look, the Quebec Nordiques left in 95, 96. That was the first year of Colorado. They won the cup against the Florida Panthers. I mean, I feel like a lot of the Montreal Canadiens and the Ottawa Senators and others have lost the competitive balance that they had when Quebec was in there to make it stronger.
No, such a passionate fan base. I saw one game at the Colisée
in Quebec.
We jogged the plains of Abraham that morning, and it was just one of the best experiences ever. The hot dogs there, Marty, were second. I jogged in the morning, then had like 3 hot dogs at night. It wasn't a great day nutrition-wise.
You jog in the morning.
Yeah,
hot
have
dogs.
The 3 hot dogs during the game, and then you probably sneak in a poutine, and then you go on to Grand Allée, which is the street with the bar and all of that. And you have a couple of drinks, and then the next day you're like, I better go jogging again because I got to get rid of all of that from yesterday.
Were you there that day? It sounds like you were.
That was my juniors. I mean, we didn't lose a Saturday game in juniors at home because I was in Beauport, which was Quebec City, because we had a 10-minute car ride up to the, top of the hill, the city, out in the bars. So we didn't lose Saturday night at home because we were all partying after.
So I'd love to see the NHL go back there. Marty, thanks so much for this. We'll get you back on soon. Really appreciate it.
Enjoy game 2.
You bet.